What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I am your host, Junkyard James, and I did not post an episode solo last week. We're getting ready for the new schedule for the show. If you haven't seen the new schedule, check out our Facebook and X pages, and you can see that schedule there in a brief 5-second interlude of it. Thursdays, 9 p.m. We'll still do live streams for pay-per-view prediction shows and stuff of that nature. That will take place Thursday, 9 p.m. Starting this week on Friday, we'll have a new episode of JMG Reacts being released every Friday. My hope is that I can get everything edited and everything in place so that I can upload it to instantly premiere at noon on Friday. So stay tuned for that. And then Saturdays, the plan for Saturday is I am going to have a weekly live stream on Saturdays. I put noon is when it starts, but I don't know exactly if I'm going to hold to that schedule, but at some point in time, it may be live, it may not. It just kind of depends on my personal schedule, but I'm going to try and weekly put up a Saturday episode kind of recapping what's going on in the wrestling world, maybe bring on a few guests, things of that nature. And so that will take place on Saturdays, and that'll be starting this week. I wanted to kind of introduce that here and make up for a lack of an episode from last week as well by making this episode. But before we get into any content, let's just quickly break through our partners and affiliates that we work with. Gotta give a big shout out to WWE Shop. Hey, I know if you listen to this podcast and are big pro wrestling fans, you are big fans of the Motor City Machine Guns. Well, they made their WWE debut last week, and they got their own merchandise on the WWE Shop. Use the link in the description to buy that, plus countless other things on the WWE Shop. Use the link in the description. Shop like you always do. Help support the podcast. We do get a piece of your purchase. We are also supporters and affiliates and partners with W Energy. You go to w.gg, get you some of their mix, or if you can catch them while they're still in stock, they're bottled energy drinks. W Energy's big focus is to take down the artificial flavorings and bad ingredients in some of these big name brand energy drinks. And so I've tried some of their products and they're really good. Go to w.gg, use the code Beyond the Yard at checkout. You save 10%, we make 10%, and so you help support your wallet and support the podcast when you go to w.gg and use code Beyond the Yard. And then finally, WrestleMania is coming up. AEW Full Gear, AEW I can't remember the name of the December paper. World's End. Good grief. World's End's coming up. Football is underway. Basketball starts this week. Hockey's underway. College football is underway. If you need a ticket to anything in your area, StubHub is the place to go, and our link is the link to use to get your tickets. You're going to buy the tickets, but help support our podcast while doing so, and we would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, let's get going into some major content. I was planning on recording this morning and going through what I wanted to talk about as I was planning to record this. And so what I want to mention is there seems to be still this idea that AEW has to settle to be like second fiddle to WWE. I want to give my thoughts on that. Why I don't think AEW has to settle for second place. And I'll explain that why. But I also want to talk before that. Breaking news hit earlier this afternoon that Samantha Irvin is no longer the Monday Night Raw ring announcer. I guess effective immediately. Reports from what I've read briefly said that it kind of came to a shock to those in WWE, and it sounds like Samantha Irvin may be out of the wrestling business altogether. Obviously, AEW is probably going to try and secure her talent, but I've also heard that she wants to focus on creating music and becoming a performing artist. And so, best of luck to Samantha Irvin. I think she was one of the best ring announcers that WWE has had in quite some time. There's just a lot of ring announcers that are just kind of like they do a good job. It's not like they suck, but they don't leave a lasting impact on the wrestling business. Like it was part of Adam Copeland or Edge's theme when he came out that Tony Chimmel would go, "The rated R superstar." Like that was part of his thing. And Samantha was really good at creating those special pieces to people's entrances with like Chelsea Green, and I think Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor always got a good one. Cody Rhodes always had a really vibrant entrance from Samantha Irvin, and so I hope she continues in the wrestling business, but I hope her the best in whatever avenue she feels is best for her. Now, here's where I have a problem: is with the people in the IWC, the WWE cultists, who automatically 10 seconds after she makes her post start saying, "Oh, this was planned," and Ricochet has been tampering and trying to get her to come to AEW, and I hate Ricochet, and Samantha's dead to me. Like, I'm not a fan of that mentality for an individual talent, because my belief and my opinion is that you got to do what's best for you. You got to do what you think is going to help you get to where you want to go in your career. It's your career. It's not my career. It's not anybody else's career but yourself. And so the same logic that I would use to myself that I would use for anybody else is you got to do what's best for you. And Samantha Irvin obviously feels like what's best for her is to leave WWE, leave this chapter of her time behind, and it makes sense. Like, it was great that she was in WWE and dating, and I think eventually got married to Ricochet. And so, like, it was great while they were there together that they could travel together and be on the road together and basically be part of the same company. Ricochet leaves, whether by choice or basically by force. WWE just didn't want to re-sign him. I don't know exactly why Ricochet left. Ricochet, I believe, said it was basically like, I'm here because there's so many, like, the same kind of scripted response that every ex-WWE wrestler gives, like, or new signing gives, that, like, AEW's for the best wrestle and all of that stuff. And so, I don't know the real behind-the-scene reason why Ricochet left. Maybe he just wanted to change the scenery. And obviously, Samantha Irvin wanted to change the scenery as well. And it would come to a shock to me if Samantha Irvin was put into a position to where she felt as if she couldn't support her husband because she worked for the other company. And I saw that she retweeted some AEW stuff last week for Ricochet's matches, and I thought that came odd to me because I don't know if WWE would want their lead ring announcer sharing the competitor's product. And so I wonder if she took any flack for that. I don't know what her actual reason. I didn't really read her statement. I know she put out this long statement on social media. I didn't read much of it. I'm just not the kind of, like, I'm just like, give me the gist. And she's gone. And she's saying thank you to the fans. So I don't know her real reasoning for why she decided to leave. But obviously, she feels like whatever opportunity is coming for her next, because she will have a next opportunity outside of the WWE, she will go and do great in whatever field of play that she decides to take place in. Whether that's in wrestling or through singing or acting or whatever it may be, I know Samantha Irvin's going to be great at whatever she does because she was great at being a ring announcer, and she seems like she puts a lot of pride and joy in her work. But you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be crude. You don't have to be crass. I don't think she should reserve the death threat. There's people that take this so seriously. And it's like, it's no different than if XYZ actor, and Samantha Irvin's case, she's not like a main character. She's kind of like a supporting role. If NCIS has gone through multiple supporting roles, right? Tony DiNozzo's character was sent off, and Ziva David's character was sent off, and all of this. Like, they've used several other characters, supporting characters, to tell the story of NCIS. And so they'll find someone to take Samantha Irvin's place, and it won't really affect the overall product that WWE gets. And so we shouldn't take it this seriously. Obviously, it's sad that she's not part of the WWE no more, but it's like, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to, like, have a near-death experience because she's no longer on Monday Night Raw. So, let's calm down. Like, yeah, Samantha was great at what she did, and it's sad that she's gone. But she wants to do what she feels is best for her, and I think what we need to do as fans is be supportive of that. Right? Be supportive of the fact that Samantha Irvin is willing to say, I'm not just going to stay at a job that's lush and comfy and I can get everything I wanted and I can have big moments. No, I want to do something that gives me a meaning and a purpose. That's what we're all called to do in this life, is to do that which gives us purpose and gives us meaning and allows us to wake up every day and say, I enjoy doing what I do. And if you don't enjoy doing what you do, then it's time for you to go. And my belief, and I can't prove this, is that maybe Samantha, without knowing that Ricochet is not there, just wasn't having fun at work. She didn't feel like she had a purpose anymore. I don't know what the reasoning is, but she's making a move, and we support her 100% in wherever she goes going forward. But with that being said, let's talk about this main topic. And I want to make this kind of short and sweet, but also go as in-depth as possible. There still seems to be this idea that AEW just has to sit there and take and sit in the fact that they're always going to be number 2, and that they're just a step on the process to getting to the top of the mountain, and the top of the mountain is WWE. I don't buy that. I don't buy that philosophy. And this is why. Because AEW and WWE sell a completely different product. It'd be like telling Taco Bell to stop trying to play second fiddle and to Chick-fil-A. Right? Like, they both serve food, but Chick-fil-A is probably more popular than Taco Bell, but they don't sell the same product, so it's not a general, like, smart thing to do, to make guesses and things of statistical value on things that are not similar in structure. And so AEW sells a completely different product than what WWE sells. WWE sells entertainment. They sell a movie portraying a wrestling show. And AEW tries to present a wrestling show where you wrestle. And so, first of all, they're completely different categories. And so, yes, overall, they may be competing, they may be in the same sphere, but what the product that you're selling is completely different. And so, no, I don't think AEW has to settle for being the second best sports entertainment product when they should be selling the first best professional wrestling product. Because let's just be honest, the action in the ring, like the WWE every now and again finds a banger match. Like, I think if they put Roxanne Perez versus Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer in a triple threat, that would be a banger match. Stephanie Vaquer and Julia is a banger match. Stephanie Vaquer and Roxanne by herself is a banger match. I think like Kevin Owens and Randy Orton would be a banger match. Trick Williams puts on good matches, but not like 75% of the show is not banger matches. It's selling you an idea of some form of entertainment, a TV show per se, more acting than action, and more drama than action, I guess I should say. Whereas on the flip, AEW sells action, and so there's going to be more action and less story. Now, there's still story in AEW, just as there's still action in WWE, but the amount of story in AEW and the amount of action in WWE are completely different from one another, and so I don't even think you can compare them together because they sell a completely different product. And so what has to be your main focus as AEW is being the best pro wrestling company. Not necessarily the best in the wrestling industry, but the best pro wrestling company. And so, in a couple weeks, November 6th, the day after the election, NXT runs head-to-head against AEW. And AEW would probably, for the most part, put on several really good matches. And then NXT, what they would probably do is they're going to bring some really big superstar from the main roster onto this NXT roster to get a big pop, to try and compete. That's the feeling I get out of it, right? But the point of the matter is if you look at WWE as being something completely different than AEW, then I think you can start to enjoy bits and pieces of WWE and AEW. I certainly have my moments in WWE where I enjoy the product. Now, I'm not the biggest WWE fan, I'll admit that, but there are bits and pieces of WWE product that I really absolutely love. And there are bits and pieces of AEW product that I'm not necessarily fond of. But there's a lot of pieces of AEW product where I'm absolutely in love with the idea. Like Anna Jay. She beats Mariah May in the Eliminator match, gets herself her title opportunity, and then whatever happens afterwards, but at least she's getting this title opportunity that she's really never had. And so I was so excited for this. Adam Cole's returning. I'm excited for this. The whole heel storyline, I'm excited for this, and to kind of see what's going on with having all these heel champions. Takeshita basically going anywhere he wants and challenging for the belt. He challenged it against someone at the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show last night, and Ricochet interfered in that match, and it's probably going to set up a Takeshita feud with Ricochet, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. But it's like, there's story there, but it's very minute. It forces you to have to do a little bit of research and to be smarter fans than normal to enjoy the product. And so if they understand that, and honestly stop trying to be a secondary go-ahead to WWE and try and set their own lane and be the first AEW and not the second WWE. I think AEW is in a really good spot. I really do. I think AEW is in a spot to where they're going to be more profitable than they've ever been, more profitable than any company other than WWE has been next year, and for the next 3 years. And it seems like the product's getting better. The attendance, okay, that's something that they can work on. The viewership is something they can work on, but it's not the end of the world. They're not some B segment wrestling show. This is like the top of the top. This is like a really good wrestling show. And so, no, I don't think that the AEW has to just kind of settle to being second place behind WWE. I think they should choose to dig their own path and become the first in this path to be successful at it. Because there's one thing that I know, is that Tony Khan will not give up without a fight. And he will, do what he's got to do to keep AEW going. And, man, that's just kind of it. It's like, at the end of the day, you don't have to like AEW. You don't have to like Impact Wrestling. You don't even have to like WWE. You don't have to like... You can pick and choose what you enjoy. But at the end of the day, we're all wrestling fans. And I'm just kind of sick and tired of seeing wrestling fan after wrestling fan beat each other up over small things such as some preference of how long a specific wrestler should wrestle in the ring. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please please shoot them in the messages in the chat, and we will get that taken care of for you. Answer them to our best of our ability, maybe in a future episode. Stay tuned for Friday for episode 1 of JMG Reacts. And until next time, y'all, this has been another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast.